What is happening, TWT fans? It is time for another Talking with Topher, and it is episode 311. It is March 19th, 2026. And before I get into anything today, let me start off the way I always do by saying thank you. Thank you to all of my subscribers out there. You're the reason I keep coming back week after week. If you're new, remember to subscribe. If you want an opportunity to be on the podcast, tell your story, TALKIN with Topher at gmail.com. And then, of course, don't forget about that Linktree link. It is in the description below the video, along with all links discussed in this episode here today. And now with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into the episode, everybody. What is happening out there? How are you all doing? I will let you know that I am holding on to a string right now. It has been just a wild ride through everything. And I don't know, I guess I've just been struggling with my anger lately, and it's been tough for me, and I hate it. I thought I had a handle on it. I thought it was getting better, and then I gave up nicotine, and it's been so tough. It's been so tough. I guess, it's just one of the symptoms, but I don't like the fact that my anger is coming back. But I also don't like the fact that I'm dependent on nicotine anymore. So what a terrible situation to be in. So I'm just trying to figure that out, level myself out, and it has not been easy. This inflation, the money, collapse of America has just been so strenuous on all of us, I believe. I don't think it's just me, but I do think that what we're all dealing with today is something that's never been dealt with before. And I do believe that we're all feeling the pressure. And if you're not, I'm really happy for it, because when I don't feel the pressure anymore, it's going to be a nice day. I just don't know when that day is going to come anymore, Searching for it, I'm looking for it, and it's just not in sight. But, like everything, it seems to be our next battle. So I'm battling through it, and, one day it'll be behind me. And when that happens, it will be something that I hopefully look back on and go, wow, that was a really, really tough time. And I'm so glad that I made the choices I made, and I made it on the other side of it. But being in the middle of it right now, it feels like the end of the world. It feels like everything is going to be taken from me. I feel like there's not enough money to be made anymore. There's no way to financially stabilize ourselves in this economy today, is how I feel. I feel it's set up this way, and I feel like the setup is being finalized, and this is going to be it. And I do believe that that is the breaking point of society, is when people don't feel like they can do anything anymore, they break. So I don't want to be one of the people that breaks, but I'm telling you, man, I don't know how many people are dealing with the pressure that I'm under and not breaking. I also don't know how many people are dealing with the pressure that I'm dealing with and having it not be as heavy as I'm making it for myself. So, I got a lot to battle with. It's mostly all mental, right? There is a lot of, evidence that things are getting much more difficult day in and day out. But at the end of the day, the mental battle seems to be the hardest one for me to get through. And I've just been working on it real hard, and still sticking with very little nicotine at this moment in time, about maybe 4 milligrams, maybe 3 to 4 times a day. And I've been using that Serotonin. It has been making things a little bit easier, but still not nicotine, but better than nothing. You know what I mean? So addiction is a bitch. It's really, really tough. I hate it. And I think that's what drives me to get rid of it more than anything, is that I hate being addicted. And I know that my addictions are feeding my anger, But I think my anger, when it's pointed in this direction, it's a good direction to point it in. And I guess I do still, think of this as a type of therapy and a way to get it out without, I don't need to be on the news for something, crazy. But I don't think I'm alone either. But yeah, it's been a wild ride lately, and it just keeps getting wilder. So let's dive in to what we got going on this week. This one right here, man, this is how you beat the algorithm. Now, it does have music, so did 9/11. These guys are just singing and dancing. Israel murdered Charlie Kirk. They're just dancing to this on the beach. Israel assassinated JFK. It's just so funny what they're doing. Epstein worked for Mossad. And I guess with this music and the style video they did, this is how you beat. AIPAC is the largest lobby in the country. Nobody's coming to save you. But this is how you beat the algorithm. I didn't know that. So they're telling you to get involved and join the Liberty Tavern. I'll have the link in the description, of course, but if you want to go and check it out more. But I just think that is absolutely hilarious that we are now finding ways to beat the algorithm so that we can get the message through. We should just be able to get the message through. You think it would be just that easy, right? It would be just that easy to just get the message through. But no, you can't do it that way. You have to do it like this. You have to make a silly TikTok video, which I hope almost everybody has deleted and gotten off of, but I know you probably haven't. But yeah, so Upscrolled is, well, way better. They've never taken down anything I've put up. I've gotten to put up everything that I put up on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere else, and nothing is being taken down. Not like TikTok. TikTok was terrible. I was... Man, and it also got weird. I don't know if anybody else noticed TikTok getting weird, but TikTok got real weird for a minute. Like, I had a video, I think I said this, with 0 views, and I got more subscribers, and it was just weird, and I don't know where they were going with it. But I also saw this 2 weeks ago, I think, and it was deleted and removed, and somebody resent it to me because I couldn't find it. I was having trouble. This is billionaires talking about buying islands, everybody. Dude, this is wild. Crazy shit right here. All right, the audio's a little rough, but give it a listen.
This one's in Thailand.
I've been in Thailand before.
Have you?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful.
What comes with the island?
There's a small villa there. You could practically build what you want.
There's building space.
Yeah, there's
Do the islands come with the children, or the children imported after?
This island does have a small school. There are children.
Okay, so I don't know if that was a stupid
Yeah.
What countries are near to abduct them from?
Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam,
Philippines?
The Philippines.
Of course.
The Filipinos, if they're not being a nurse, they're being your crew. Okay, so.
True.
Yeah, so.
What age ranges?
Below 10, I don't really.
Dude, I've seen this video so many times now, and every time I see this, it's crazy to me. They're literally talking about islands that are near countries, and then they're asking if they come with them. Do they come with the children? Well, there is a school here. Well, what's the nearest island? Where's the nearest place I can abduct them from? This, I believe, is more normal to them than anything in the world. They literally, my God. I mean, they talk about this like people talk about sports. They talk about this like people talk about work. You know what I mean? This is work to them. It's absolutely disturbing. It's so disturbing that we are actually seeing this stuff, and it's real. That's the problem I have, I think, is that we've all heard of this. Did you think Jim Carrey was crazy? Did you think Roseanne was crazy? Do you think at any point that any of the people that were deemed crazy, insane, supposed to be deplatformed and banished, all of them were right. All of them were right. So the thing I'm trying to grasp today is that if they were all right, and me and my friends, I mean, they've been doing it longer than I have, and I've been into this for about a decade now. I mean, I really exposed that I was into it on the podcast maybe, 4 years ago or so, because I didn't want to be the crazy guy, right? You don't want to be crazy, but we weren't crazy. And I think that's the scarier part to me, is that we weren't crazy. They weren't crazy. They're not crazy. They're speaking truth. And this is evidence of the truth. This is what they want to hide from all of us. And so again, why are we going to allow them to do it? Right? I don't know, man. I think Kash Patel needs to be taken out of his position. I think the United States ambassador Huckabee, he needs to be taken out of his place, fired, just gone. See you later. I mean, we need to completely and absolutely dismantle this entire thing, because it's built on all of this disgustingness, this disturbing subject, which I thought personally, I thought all of America agreed upon, that if you were to do this to a child, that you were not supposed to be with us. You're not supposed to be part of society. You're supposed to be exiled, because this is something that is completely and absolutely frowned upon by what I thought was the population of the United States. I really did. I thought everybody felt this way. And now I'm starting to realize that everybody actually agrees with them. And I think that's more twisted, because they must agree with them. They must think it's okay, because they're not doing anything about it today. So that's scary. I don't know, man. It's crazy to think about that this stuff has just been happening. It's just been happening, like, getting on a cruise or flying to the beach, or, just taking a vacay. It's just the same to these people, huh? Now, we're having some real problems with the food. I don't know if you heard about this. Is there anybody in the administration that actually gives a fuck about us? I don't know, man.
Example of a food that's a vaccine?
You recognize?
Yes. University of California, Riverside has already perfected the ability to put human vaccines into our lettuce right now. Also, tomatoes has the ability to do that also for UC Berkeley. And then Big Tobacco, RJ Reynolds and stuff, has perfected the ability to put a human vaccine into tobacco products.
Chairman Clements?
And is that even legal to do in the state of Tennessee, to sell those with a vaccine in them?
You recognize?
Well, I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is there is no law deeming those that when you go into a grocery store, you should know as a consumer, this head of lettuce is a head of lettuce. The head of lettuce right next to it could contain a vaccine in it. All we're saying is if it does have the vaccine in it, make sure it's listed as a pharmaceutical so people can get the proper dosage.
You recognize?
Thank you. Well, my question is right now, can you walk into a grocery store and there be a head of lettuce for sale that has a vaccine in it? I don't think that's allowed under state law presently. And if it is, and you have to list it as a pharmaceutical, are we going to then have Walgreens pharmacists with a refrigerated section? I mean, how's this going to play out?
You recognize?
Thank you. This is more of a consumer protection bill right here, is to make sure that if you're going in to buy tomatoes and there's a polio vaccine in there, that you are aware of what you're buying has a polio vaccine. The problem you have is if it's not treated as a pharmaceutical, being the size and difference between you and me, how many tomatoes do I have to eat to get the proper dosage versus how many tomatoes that you have to eat? And if you eat too many, do you get a overdose? If you eat too less, like we had in the cattle industry with aeromycin, we weren't dosing our cattle properly, and the horn flies were developing an immunity to it. If we don't have the proper dosage of a vaccine, it could lead to the efficacy of that drug not work anymore.
Okay, that's even crazier. So now we're going to put vaccines in food. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a problem. I mean, this is retarded, right? And you know exactly where this came from. This is how they dose the animals. They use this as an excuse to dose the animals. But it's weird, right? Gonna go into a pharmacy. You're gonna see tomatoes, and you're gonna see tomatoes with a vaccine. What? No. You can't have those next to each other. He's absolutely right. First of all, is this even legal? There's no law against it. That doesn't make it legal, dude. That's not how legal works. Just because it's not written in law. Like, does it sound ethically legal to you? You know what I mean? Like, you don't give a shit? You're just going to throw a vaccine in a head of lettuce and I don't know. I just don't eat the lettuce anymore. Well, how long has this been going on? And did you tell anybody else not to eat the lettuce? Kind of wacky, huh? And yeah, I think you're going to have to completely separate it. And who the fuck is going to buy a head of lettuce with a vaccine in it? Somebody that afraid of a needle? I'm not understanding the sense of this. We are being treated like cattle. It's weird. Absolutely weird. Does it not just fit into the narrative a little bit more about the simple fact that, like, that's all they think of us as? That's it. They don't want any of the trouble of freedom. They just want you to keep producing for them. That's it. That's all they want. It's all they want. They want to make sure that that we do exactly what they want. They don't care how they implement it, how they squeak it in there, how legal or not legal it is. You know, it's just like all the elites, all Epstein's elites. No, be a good person. Children are our future. You know, anybody who touches them is a bad person. You know, we don't want corporate greed. We don't. But that's all they do. That's all they do. They do everything that they tell us not to do. Wow. Blows my mind. Blows my mind, everybody. All right. I'll try going through these a little bit faster for you, but this is creepy as shit, everybody. This is a takeout from 1986, The Money Pit, okay, starring Tom Hanks. It's going viral because fans noticed that kids in the background are singing, "I'm a pizza, ready to eat." I never noticed this. Never. But you're about to hear it.
Well, you better let me off here. I don't think you can make it up the driveway.
They testing missiles here or what?
That's right, buddy, we are. And it's very hush-hush, top secret. So forget you were up here and forget you saw any of this. Forget about a tip. Ah, home crab home.
What is that, dude? No, I get it. It's probably a pizza advertisement, right? Back in the day. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But still, right? We've all learned that Hollywood is the most corrupted by this. Hollywood holds the most insane people in the world. And they all are trying to do the same thing, which is live forever, which we've already come to the conclusion of that most of them have, right? Most people are other people, according to some people out there who match up very specific things on their face, moles, stuff like that. I'm trying to indicators, very precise indicators that can only be there if it's that person. And Tom Hanks, he was the first to get COVID. Is in the Epstein files. And that has my curiosity up because, wow, dude. Every Hollywood movie is just putting their secrets right in front of our face. Right in front of our face. It was right there the whole time. And we didn't pay attention to it. And don't try to tell me it ain't real, everybody, because pizza is what pizza is now. You know it. We said it, and you didn't want to believe it, and now it's all true. And I'm actually curious to see how a lot of you people feel now. That we're just so like, this can't be, it can't be, it can't be. And then it's just file after file after file. And you're just like, wow. Yeah. Grape soda, pizza, what other any code word they could put in there, right? And this is another person. This is a bombshell. Epstein confirmed Israeli spy, leaked documents. This is wild, dude. And this was done by James Lee. And man, it is just, it's scary, man. It's scary because these people were spouting this stuff off and they were called crazy. They were called crazy, dude.
That was Gabriel Rico Jimenez, a model who disappeared from Mexico 15 years ago. She accused the elites of engaging in cannibalism and eating human flesh. She was 21 years old at the time and was handcuffed by police after the tirade before being led away and never seen in public again. And now we might know why. This is a document from the latest Epstein files release, where a victim alleged that they were a part of some kind of ritualistic sacrifice in which their feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. And then on a yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. This is absolute madness.
And that was a warning from 15 years ago. Another person called crazy, locked up, disappeared. Who knows? Who knows, right? But this goes much deeper. It always goes much deeper. And I am not sorry, but I guess Kuru is a rare and incurable neurodegenerative disease marked by progressive loss of motor control and cognitive function. It causes inappropriate laughter and was historically found among the 4 people of Papua New Guinea due to ritual cannibalism. Now, crazy, dude. Because, yeah, you're not supposed to eat people, right? But if people are eating people, then they could wind up with some weird, rare diseases. Well, you remember who had some uncontrollable laughter at one point in time? Yeah. Check this out, man. Do you remember? Do you remember when, was it Saddam? I think it was, Gaddafi. It was Gaddafi, which I still think was a terrible decision. And I don't think he was the evil dictator that they all told us. I think he was getting away from the federal banking system or the central banking system, which is the exact same thing. So we never got rid of it. It just changed its name and implemented its fucking dirty fangs into America immediately. But she was like, I think it went, we came, we saw, he died, haha. But she always had this like uncontrollable laughter, right? Like it just wasn't a place for it. And there's been a few other things that have happened over time where Hilary Clinton has uncontrollably laughed at probably a point in time where everybody else was not laughing. But check this out. This is wild.
In every way. And how do you talk about Senator Warren? Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren? You guys have got to try the cold chai.
What the fuck was that? I'm going to rewind that and play that one more time because I mean, I heard there was like no question though. There was no question. It wasn't like she was answering anything. She wasn't saying yes to somebody.
In every way. And how do you talk about Senator Warren? Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities with Senator Warren? You guys have got to try the cold chai.
And she said Senator Warren. Interesting. I am not sure what's going on there, but it looks weird. It looks weird, and her actions are weird, and her body movement is weird, and it looks uncontrollable. And if those things are true, which I don't remember if it's happened already or if it's going to happen, what they're supposed to testify, and I don't know if that's really going to happen or if they're even going to give us the information that we want, because I believe that these people will do anything that they are asked to keep the secret. They will. They will do anything that they are asked to keep it, and they will never back down, and they will never fold because they want to stay a part of the group. And as long as they can hold it together, if the group, if they make it through this, every single one of them that held on just solidified themselves. You know what I mean? So this is just a test for all of them too. Who's going to survive this? Who's going to crack and call and tell on people, and you know what I mean? Like, who is the weak ones? Who are the strong ones? And they're all judging each other right now as well, which is so crazy to me. But we should be doing something, you know? We should be doing something because these people have been doing terrible things for a long time, and they're basically they look and act like, I want to say, the Antichrist, for crying out loud. This is crazy when you're, sacrificing children to cabal, which is a Satan thing. It's weird to me, right? It all has to correlate. It can't not. It can't not. It can't.
Antichrist is not a person, as some people think. Like, this person is going to come on earth and he's going to show wonders. He's going to raise the dead and make fire come down from heaven, and he's going to be like Christ, and people will go and worship him thinking it is Jesus Christ. No. Making fire coming from heaven, raising the dead, these are symbolic meanings. The Antichrist is a governmental system. It's not a person doing wonders and miracles. That's why some people, where they did not like the Pope, they said Pope is the Antichrist or thing. Well, even though I disagree with some of the things he does, with all love and respect, but yeah, it's much greater than the Pope. It is a governmental system that will control everything. This governmental system will control the religious sector, which has already infiltrated so deeply. The church is infiltrated. Freemason devour the church. Secret societies, they have their representatives dressed up in sheep clothing, but from inside they are vicious wolves. There are bishops like me, there are priests, there are cardinals and popes not working for Christ. Don't be shocked, don't be surprised. We are living in the end of times.
I hope not.
From outside they look Christians, but they're not. They're not.
I think we're fucked. That's what I think. I think we're in a lot of trouble, everybody, because this is something that I truthfully do believe is that this is where we're at. There is something happening, and if he's right, it's not going to be this sacrificial Red Bull, this newborn baby that's going to grow up to be this Antichrist, that if it is our government system, well then, yes, I did look at Hilary Clinton like the Antichrist. I'm looking at all of them as the Antichrist because they are Antichrist. None of them are for Christ or God. They're all against it. And again, the dissolve of the church, right? The parallel church, which is constantly praying to Satan. And if Satan is if Satan's the Antichrist, well, is Satan the Antichrist or is the Antichrist Satan? I don't know. Or they could be the same, I guess. But man, it's happening. It's happening right now. It's happening right now. And you have to ask yourself do you want to be part of it? Because it's probably really easy to become part of it, right? I just have to stop questioning things. I have to stop. I would, I'm losing everything and just become dependent and put my hands out. Say, please, please, right? I can't be that person, man. I can't be that person. But if our government is the Antichrist, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble because they're here. It's now, and it's happening. And I really, really do believe that this is where a war with Iran is a very terrible idea. Now, is this a coincidence or not? I don't know. This is weird to me, but we can take a look at it. So this is the Oscar, and this is the Socar. Now, the Socar is the golden statue of the Oscars of the American Academy of Cinema. Art looks almost identical to the ancient Egyptian god of evil, fire, afterlife, and rebirth. Oscar is an anagram for Socar, which I have never heard of, but it says that this thing is the god of evil. It's a god of fire, god of afterlife, and then the god of rebirth. So that all being said, what? Why would it be also the god of rebirth? That's a crazy thing, isn't it? I mean, it does look identical to it. It's crazy. It's got the staff. It's got the whole thing. Just instead of the head tilted further, they had it stand up straight. But I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I don't believe in coincidences. What I do believe in is I do believe that all of Hollywood is as deep and as tainted as the Epstein files has proven. And we are all at the point where it's easy to find these connections now. It's easy to pinpoint this stuff and figure it out. Because why? Because it's true. It's all true. So if it's true, it's easy to put more pieces together. And that's why they need to be arresting and prosecuting people right now, because it's not difficult to prove this. And I don't know who's going to be able to do it or what's going to happen, but we need to have the redacted files unredacted. This is crazy, the amount of stuff that they are still doing today to protect these people is disgusting here in America. And I love the fact that everybody else around the world is saying, yeah, we're done. I want to say it was China who recently just said, if you don't do something, I think it was about the tariffs or something, they were going to release unredacted Epstein files. And my first thought was, just release them anyways. Just release them anyways. Who cares? I mean, sure, you guys can use it as leverage if you want, but I think you should just release them. I think you should just release them. Everybody who's got anything on this that's not redacted, and it just let it out. Let it out. I think everybody becomes a winner at that point. I think everybody becomes a winner. So the Jews are not the Archons. The Jewish reincarnation plot. Okay, let's see where this has to go. This is an interesting one to me, so let's play this.
Jesus is the only true God. Worshipping other things than God, like matter or other gods or beings, will result in going to hell, which is reincarnation. The Archons' job is to prevent spiritual enlightenment and keep humanity trapped in the physical realm. The Jews are the Archons. The Archon's job is to keep you trapped in this physical reality and the material realm by getting you to worship and tempting you to worship physical matter and other things than God. Hence, jewelry. This is where jewelry comes from, J-E-W, by owning and controlling all of the social media to control what you see, and therefore controlling what you think. They control Hollywood. They control the record labels and all the artists and what they say and do. Why do you think the Jews, the Archons, own and control all of mass porn and all of the porn websites? The Archons are not in another dimension. The Archons are the Jews. If these Archons, these Jews, have power, they will continue to trick and trick and trick everybody into reincarnation, and you will be deceived over and over and over again. This is exactly what the Ouroboros symbolizes, is reincarnation over and over and over again. These Jews have so much power. They're able to trick everyone on earth. Everyone who is born on earth is going to be tricked and destined to be tricked by the Archons, because Saturn's Archons, the Jews, rule and control the planet, tricking everybody to worship physical reality and tricking everybody to not worship Jesus Christ, and you will be trapped in reincarnation over and over and over again. Saturn is the lord of physical reality. Saturn's Archons are the Jews. The Jews worship Saturn.
If they are the Archon, that means we're all being duped right now. That's how I feel. How do you feel about the situation? Leave some comments in below, you know what I mean? Leave some comments below, because this is crazy, dude. The reincarnation plot. Just keeping you in this loop, this endless loop of material things, which I do have to say, man, it's not hard to fall in. Buying material things is nice. It is. If I had financial freedom, I would buy things. But that's only because I work hard. And then I feel like I deserve those things. And when I work hard and I don't get any of those things, I wonder why I'm working so hard. So I don't even know if this is something that's going to be necessary soon. But yeah, if we stay blind and we stay buying, we're easier to control and manipulate. And I did say like weeks ago that it's always about things. It's always about things. So here's a little bit more on the Star of David and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, which I found interesting because I didn't, there's a lot of subliminal messaging and a lot of stuff that I did not realize had it. So let's check this out. It's very interesting.
David didn't have a star, but Remphan surely did. Worshipped by the Israelites, and that's why God flipped his lid. Also known as Molech and Saturn, he was the one they chose. So God, he turned his back on them and left them on their own. He made them lose that promised land, taken by Babylon. But their infant Saturn worship went on and on and on. Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star, now we know just who you are. Like it says in Acts 7. And Saturn is worshipped on December 25th. I guess you had a party for him too. And what about all those missing kids? 'Cause he likes the odd sacrifice or two. Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Now we know just who you are. Like it says in Acts 7:43, they were punished for their idolatry. And it's not written anywhere that they ever left Saturn's lair. And what's that on that flag over there? Oh, twinkle, little
Wow, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. My God, man. So, oh my God. Oh my God. So that's why Jesus left him that land. It wasn't because he was doing something nice for them. It's because he turned his back on them. So the USA ambassador sitting there saying that they have the right to that land because Jesus gave it to them is actually incorrect. It's because it's not like he was like, here, you can have this. He was like, I'm turning my back on you, and if you guys stay here, I'm not doing anything for you. You can stay here though. He just said that he had their land stolen from them by Babylon. One of the wars that was brought up by the U.S. ambassador was the War of Babylon. Jesus did this to them because they worship Satan, Cabal. Turned his back on him and left him there. Wow. Wow. So they don't have the right to that land. Jesus was just hoping that they would just stay there and not bother anybody else. But unfortunately, their satanic powers have carried over hundreds and hundreds of years. And, well, we might be seeing the end of the world because of it. Who knows? But they're twinkle, twinkle, little star, huh? Because now I know who you are. Now I know who you are. Jesus Christ, dude. All right. So not to be confused with a schmear, this one here is the Ninjas Butterflies podcast. And we're going to discuss some more stuff about the Jews and Somalians. And let's see where they take us. All right.
Solomon's temple. There's a story within the Talmud, and it talks about Solomon used this ancient technology to build a temple called the Shamir. This is weird. Preface, the Talmud is not recognized within Christianity. Historians do. But this Shamir, some speculate it's a worm. It is this green ray, a living creature whose gaze carves rock.
Whoa!
The Talmud talks about the story that God basically told Solomon, you're not allowed to use iron tools on the temple because these iron tools are also used in warfare.
Yeah.
This is Talmud, not the scripture. And then he was told the Shamir was given to Ashmadiah, the king of demons.
Medea?
Tyler Perry?
Or Ashmadiah, I think. Solomon's best warriors forced him to say where the Shamir is.
Wow.
And that's when they used the Shamir to build the temple.
Seems worse than iron.
And this is where it gets crazy. They believe that the Shamir was created before Adam and Eve.
So it was a tool being used by these demonic creatures.
Yeah, and
Got
we've
it.
talked about before all these ancient ruins, like in Peru and stuff. These rocks fit perfectly. Nothing could contain this Shamir except a lead box because it's the only thing that can contain radioactive material.
Weird.
And then after the temple was built, somehow the Shamir just disappeared.
Well, it's still out there.
Solomon's temple.
Wait
There's
a minute.
story within the
So if the Shamir is still out there, That's not in the ark, is it? Is that what's in the ark? Is the shamir? Dude, if this... Well, I don't believe that slaves built the pyramids. I don't believe that the Mayans built the Mayan temples. I don't think any civilization that we know about or has been written down in a book is actually what it is. I believe it's all lies and all that stuff was there way before them. And we just stumbled upon it and they used it and they claimed it as their own. Now, that might be all true. It might be all false. I don't know. We don't have any proof and we don't know. We still don't know how those things were built. We don't know how half of this shit got there. We can't explain most of it. So nobody's really right or wrong, right? But this is crazy. A little green worm that can cut stone using magical lifting things. Could that be what's in the ark? Wouldn't that be something? Is the ark made of aluminum? I thought it was made of gold. So maybe the shamir is in a lead box somewhere? But could you could put the lead box inside of the ark, couldn't you? And maybe that's why it's so heavily protected. Because we're not allowed to have that technology. Didn't really look like technology, though, at that point, did it? But it always goes back to Satan, everybody. Satan. The Talmud. Demons. Well, you know what they say. If every path you follow leads you to the same answer, result, same path, same door, it's got to be true at that point, right? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. So we are talking about angels and demons all the time. There is something I will agree upon. I have recently, made myself sick when I ate food that I'm not supposed to. And I haven't really felt good in a long time. Every time I eat some type of pork, sausage, bacon, I just think it's an awful meat. Now, I think it tastes great, and I love it. But it doesn't agree with me, and I don't know why, right? I can eat all the beef I can eat, vegetables, potatoes, even chicken without seasonings and stuff, just a regular chicken, not roasted, none of that crap, just chicken. Okay, I can eat that. I don't really know about fish. I'm not a big fish fan, so I know it's good brain food, but whatever. This here really solidified my thought on bacon. It really solidified my thought on eating pork. I'm going to let you listen to it and you make the decision for yourself because, like I just said, I'm done.
Where they're putting human body parts into the pig supply and the pork supply. The Reynolds family used to own 60% of all the crematoriums and moratoriums in the United States and funeral homes. And they would dispose of bodies that way too. Pig farms. Because a pig will dispose. A couple of pigs will dispose of a body in a few minutes. And then they feed that to the populace. Don't eat pig.
That you need to raise yourself.
Could not strongly warn people against that enough. Wow. Parasites of hookworms are serious things. That's why a lot of Southerners are what Southerners are. True. Understand something. Southerners and a lot of their speech and their cadence and their rhythm, it's hookworms. 9 out of 10 times.
Really?
1 for 1, they are ruled by parasites. Detox them, their brains turn on, and they're sharp and capable communicators almost immediately. Tapeworms and hookworms come pouring out of them. But they were mostly fed pork diets. Whereas out west, you see a lot less of it. And in the north, because beef tended to be the predominant thing. Sheep before that, but beef tended to feed them a lot more often. And they're far less prone to feeding you the parasites. So something to consider. Change your life forever. Do a detox, man.
Well, I got like a whole freezer full of pork right now. Even the ones that I raised.
Bro, he gave us some instructions in the scriptures to try to keep us away from stuff that's definitely deadly. Pig is 100% an animal we know gets possessed by demons. Absolutely. The legions that come out of the two men, the demoniacs in the tombs, where do they go?
Pigs.
Straight into the pigs. And the pigs are fully possessed, total possession. Think about this. The power, the spiritual possession capacity of one man, two man, depending on which account you're in, filled a herd of pigs and it drowned them in the sea. That's because those spirits, when they lose their assignment on their target, they better bring a sacrifice back with them so they don't get their stinking lunch eaten by the higher principality that's ruling them. This is why swine and pork is so heavily warned about in the scriptures. Like, don't eat it. Don't eat it. When you abstain from these things, like my family and I just started trying to eat the way that the scripture said, like literally. And it was unbelievable how many of the lights turned on in our brains, you know, and like why it was valuable for us to try to find clean sourced food.
I do agree with the clean sourced food. It's very difficult to do, and I know we should probably all have our own gardens and this and that, but I mean, it's so difficult to do those things today. So without being able to do that, you still got to go to the grocery store. You still got to do your stuff, but you can do your research and you can find great stuff out there, and you can find hopefully stuff that isn't manipulated. But yeah, I'm done with pig. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Just feeding bodies of dead people to pigs and then feeding the masses with those pigs and just making all that money off of dead people is I know this falls into the funeral home, cemetery side of things, but I believe that to be also a giant scam. Giant scam. There's a lot of places that have gotten away from that because they feel that the dead don't need land. The living do. Which I agree with more. And I think everybody should be cremated. That way, you know, everybody is accounted for, right? So, supposedly, when my dad died, as soon as my mom filed everything with the funeral home, and the funeral home had my dad's body, which I got to press the button on the crematorium. I don't know if I said that, but yeah, it was quite the experience. But the funeral home immediately called Social Security and was like, this person's no longer here. Shut it off. And my mom said it was shut off and changed before she even could pick up the phone to say something. So that's where they are at with the fraud on that side, which does make me happy. You know, it's nice to see some things being put in place to make sure that things don't happen, but it also doesn't mean that funeral homes have not found another way to deceive people by selling them something that they actually don't get buried in. I don't know. I've heard of it. I don't think it's not true, right? And I do believe that the living need the land more than the dead. So that being said, I am staying away from pork, all right? That's what I'm doing today. I don't know if it's not mostly because of the demon thing. Makes a lot of sense, but also because it doesn't make me feel good when I eat it. Now, this is wild, dude. This is not Islamophobic. It is truth. And let's hear them out. Let's hear the truth.
You're not doomed yet, but in all of world history, there has never been a civilization that has so opened its doors to another civilization that is openly hostile to it. So this is unprecedented, what's happening. Your ancestors of Europe, and I describe it in my books because I write about history, fought tooth and nail to prevent Islam from entering and conquering Europe, because that was one of the grand plans that went on for century after century. From the east, the Turks were trying to enter Constantinople. They surrounded Vienna in 1683. And before that, the Muslims, I told you, went up into Tours in France in 732. 1,000 years later. This was an actual goal. And now Western Europe is saying, oh, none of that matters. It was a misunderstanding. Come on in. But they haven't changed. That mentality, and when I say they, that's obviously, I'm simplifying. The mentality that I've described is part of Islam. It's an Islamic concept. So the Islamic State, you're told, oh yeah, they have nothing to do with Islam. They've twisted it. No, they haven't. They are a representation of what Islam, the caliphs, the sultanates, the emirates, that's how they operated. The heads of Islam, the grand imams and the muftis said the same exact thing. Okay, so that is what it is. Again, it's not my point to arguing, oh, well, this particular migrant wants to conquer you. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's looking for a good life. I understand that, and that's what makes it complicated. But to just open your borders completely to that demographic, which has within it, not all of it, but within it, that kernel of animosity for Christians and so-called infidels, and the imperative to conquer the world in the name of jihad for Allah, which they're the good guys, keep in mind. They never see themselves as the bad guys. This is one of the issues with all conflicts. They're not bad guys. They're good guys in their minds. You're the bad guys because you're infidels, and they're trying to bring the light of Islam to you. Mm-hmm. So that's another aspect of how moral, or the morality that they feel. They're the good guys, okay, in doing this. Because look at you, Denmark and Europe, you're all dissipated drunks and, profligates, and, there's no real... I'm sharing with you their arguments because I read it and I hear it. So they're bringing to you goodness, okay? But before, your ancestors, because I guess they had their own social order and their own goodness, and it was called Christianity, were able to fight it. But I guess in this current void of sort of this atheistic climate, anything goes, and who's to say they're wrong? Maybe they're right, et cetera, et cetera. And now you have what's happening. So it's a very unprecedented experience. A lot of people talk about the Roman Empire, this sort of thing happened, but it didn't, and we can get into that. It was actually, they were still cognizant of trying to maintain their own social, cultural mores, Rome. And it fell to the Goths and the Germanic peoples. And I'm just saying, some people use this analogy, but in this case, this is completely your doing. Not you, but it's Europe's doing. Okay, you're bringing a hostile force that's openly hostile, and lo and behold, when I look where Muslims are, I see chaos and violence and criminality and rape and grooming in England. Okay, that's what always happened under Islam. Okay, so is there a hope? I think so. I hope so in time, but it's so bad that it even had to get to this point. It's such an abnegation and betrayal of your own heritage, of these men and women who fought and died to preserve your way of life against an open, hostile force, and now they're being welcomed in, and why not? It's okay. So I guess so. It's a matter of time.
So where's the hope?
Let's hear where the hope is.
Yeah. Excuse me. So where's the hope? You say there is
the hope is to wake up, wake up and see what reality and what I'm talking about, and understand the history and the doctrine of Islam and what Islam is all about. Islam is unequivocally hostile.
Absolutely, 100% true. It really is. It is very hostile. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with it. Never mind the fact that, I want nothing to do with it. I think it's crazy. People say that I'm crazy because I want, the America to stay old. And it's I don't want it to stay old. I want it to stay true to what it is. It should be what we stand for first. Everything else is second. And when we start treating everything else as first, doesn't that destroy what we built? Everybody can still enjoy what was built. They can still have all of their things. But when those things get implemented into our laws and our actual function of our country, I draw the line. I say no. It doesn't have to be the white man. It doesn't have to be old. It just has to be true to what it's supposed to be, which is the simple fact that we can be free, say what we want to say, right? Because words are not violence. I don't know, man. America used to stand for freedom, for the working class, and for prosperity. I don't think any of that exists today. Our freedoms are being taken away from us. Our rights are being taken away from us. There's no way to really prosper in this world, in this country anymore, unless you're a giant corporation or you have money. If you're anybody else, you're not going to prosper here anymore. You know, the desire to come here has gone down. You know? It's crazy. He's right. Everybody needs to wake up, man. Everybody needs to wake up. They need to wake up because what we have, it will be gone. Have you ever heard of the invisible college? I did not. But again, it seems to fall right into the same category with all the elites and all their secrets and things that they like to hide. And they call it invisible because they have no place to be, right? They're just kind of there. Check this out, man. It is very odd. But again, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason all these little holes are open and the reason people are looking into it is because of all the lies that we keep getting told. So, if you realistically wanted to make all of this noise stop, all you have to do is tell the truth. Which is so weird because I've been told to tell the truth my entire life. And now I'm finding out that the entire country runs off of lies and lying to people on a regular basis. Doesn't that break you a little bit?
Trolling if you think secret societies are just a myth. This is the Invisible College, the 17th century underground network of Rosicrucians and scientists who had to hide their discoveries in alchemy and physics to avoid being hunted. The term appears in Robert Boyle's letters around 1646. He's describing natural philosophers meeting in secret, sharing experimental results, and discussing forbidden topics. They call themselves the Invisible College because they have no official building, no public charter, and no way to be tracked. England is in a civil war. The church controls what can be researched. Chemistry looks like witchcraft, studying anatomy means illegally dissecting corpses, and publishing theories contradicting scripture gets you imprisoned or killed. Serious researchers all go underground. And here's what makes this so fascinating. The Invisible College connects directly to the Rosicrucian manifestos that were published decades earlier in Germany. The Fama and Confessio claimed a secret brotherhood of adepts possesses advanced knowledge of nature and medicine, working invisibly to reform human understanding. The manifestos caused chaos. Everyone wanted to find the Rosicrucians. Letters poured into German cities begging for admission, but nobody could locate them because they were invisible, working in society without revealing themselves at all. English intellectuals realized something brilliant. You don't need permission to form an invisible college. Meet privately, share knowledge, advance understanding outside of official channels. Influence the world through your discoveries rather than institutional power. The Invisible College becomes both literal network and operating philosophy. Literal because Boyle, Christopher Wren, Robert Hooke, actually met secretly to discuss experiments, and philosophical because they adopted the Rosicrucian model of working invisibly to transform knowledge. So by 1660, they go semi-public as the Royal Society, the most important scientific institution in history. They merged from invisibility only after building enough power and results that they couldn't easily be suppressed. The Rosicrucian influence runs deep. Many members studied alchemy seriously. Boyle wrote about transmutation. Newton spent more time on alchemical experiments than physics. They saw no contradiction because both aimed at understanding nature's hidden principles. What they discovered in secret sessions eventually revolutionized everything. Boyle's gas laws, Hooke's microscopy revealing cells, and Wren's architectural mathematics. Work done in hiding became the foundation of modern science. The invisibility served another purpose too. Working outside official institutions, they could pursue forbidden questions. The church said the earth is the center. They could discuss heliocentric models freely. Medical schools taught outdated theory. They could dissect and observe actual anatomy. The Rosicrucian model appealed to these men because the invisible adept working to benefit humanity without seeking recognition was the way. Staying invisible protected their lives and their work. The invisible college never fully disappeared either. The Royal Society became visible, but esoteric orders claiming Rosicrucian lineage continued operating in secret. The pattern repeated. Underground network does revolutionary work, emerges partially when safe, and while deeper core traditions remain hidden. Freemasonry absorbed Rosicrucian symbolism. The Golden Dawn claimed the lineage. Modern groups still use invisible college to describe researchers working outside mainstream institutions on suppressed topics.
So that is, oh man, that's fucking Skull and Bones. I mean, how many other secret societies do you know of? Dude. So, I mean, it's all connected, right? It's all connected. The Freemasons, the Skull and Bones, secret societies, these secret meetings, secret islands, secret everything, man. It's all a big secret to all of us. I'm not exactly sure what the big secret is. I'm not sure what's going to happen when we find out. We're not going to find out. I may not find out. I don't know. I think by the time, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I really don't know where this year is going to take us. You know what I mean? I'm at the point where I'm like, man, pump the brakes. I don't even know if you, I mean, it's so difficult to set timelines and make goals realistically because you don't know exactly how much time you have, you know? Everything's so tense right now, but man, dude, these things have been happening for a long time. Long time. And they're going to continue doing it. And we'll get to the point where we see a little bit and we point it out, and maybe they'll figure out a way to suppress all of us this time around too, you know? But man, it's crazy, dude. Crazy. Did anybody see this shit? All right. Do you wonder where all your tax dollars go? Do you wonder, besides the theft, and the tariff money you'll never see, do you also wonder where money goes? So I saw this the other day, and it really fired me up. It's just a New York Post. Says Bush officially claims the U.S. built secret $21 trillion underground city for the rich and powerful to live if near extinction event happens. This was published May 5th of 2025. So that means this article is that old, okay? It's almost a year old. And the Illuminati bot says that we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Now, obviously, I believe that we've been building underground for a long time because why? Because a lot of our past is underneath us, and they were doing incredible things with blimps and all kinds of shit that we have made extinct, right? We have gotten rid of for one reason or another, and it was to benefit the elites. It was not to benefit any of us. I believe that a lot of the technology that we have discontinued was better, right? I still think Bells are better. I still think I think the blimps were probably better. I think we were all lied to about the Hindenburg. I think that was made up to allow the Wright brothers to make their plane, and the Rothschilds were involved in the plane as well, which makes more sense when you think of it that way, because the Fed, it's the banking system, man. It was just a way for them to collect more money. They needed to figure out how to make the fake money work by making more of it. So as long as their stuff always got pushed, it was considered prosperous and moving forward and inventing. And I mean, that is what led us to where we are today. But I believe it's all by design. And if we had not listened to them, what would it have been? Would it have been better? I don't know. Could it have been worse? Sure. But did you know that you had a $21 trillion underground city for the rich? Bought and paid for with taxes. So, I'm just saying. Isn't it nice to know that our tax money benefits so much? So, breaking news, hidden warnings in El Salvador's presidential speech. Pay attention, everybody. This is what I'm talking about. We got to pay attention. Pay attention. Look at the past. Look what they were saying.
Attention and listen, because there are a ton of hidden messages in El Salvador's president's speech. Look.
For instance, the financial situation of the United States. When I talk to my conservative friends right here, they always tell me that the problem is high taxes. But they're wrong. Of course, high taxes are extremely high here in the United States. I give you that. You're right in that. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is not the high taxes themselves, but the fact that they are not even really funding the government. Not even those high taxes, higher than a lot of places in the world, not even those taxes are really funding the government. So who's financing the government? Government is financed by treasury bonds. Paper. And who buys the treasury bonds? Mostly the Fed. And how does the Fed buy them? By printing money. But what backing does the Fed have for that money being printed? The treasury bonds themselves. So basically, you finance the government by printing money out of thin air. Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print the limited amounts of money out of thin air, why do they collect taxes? I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not.
Right.
It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing. Paper backed with paper.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. I believe that Trump wants to see the interest rates lowered is because as of right now, if we keep lowering the rate, it diminishes the dollar, but it also makes the amount of debt that we have as a country go down. So we're destroying the dollar to make our debt go down so that gold can go over $6,000 an ounce or whatever it is. I think it's an ounce. And if that happens, we would have more gold than debt. And we would be able to pay off our debt. If he could get the percentage rate down to whatever percentage he wants. But they stopped lowering the percentage rate. Because why? Because if you keep doing that, prices go up. No one can afford anything. And then you wind up in a recession. Now, I might be factually wrong somewhere in there. I might be a little bit off. The basic gist of it is he's not lying. Everything he just said is true. Granted, I would love to see the debt go away. But at what cost? At what cost? Now our money is worth nothing. I don't know if this is going to keep happening. Everybody is predicting a recession coming soon. So I just want to try and get ahead of that. You know what I mean? That's my goal for 2026. Staying ahead of the recession and hopefully not getting fucking blown up in the process, right? Who wants to get blown up in the process? Now, this I thought was crazy because I have been watching Erika Kirk very closely, and this video struck me as very disturbing. This video struck me as disturbing because this is exactly what I thought was happening, but I was staying away from it because I thought she was grieving, but now I don't think she's grieving. Now I think she's part of Islamic ideology, and she's for Israel, and she gives a shit about America just like the rest of them. They're all under this Islamic spell. They're all under Israel's spell, like little fucking puppets. And I don't believe that Trump is not also under the spell. But check this out, man. This video is very disturbing. It's very disturbing. So you will see, so Erika Kirk redecorated the new podcast studio. Check this out.
We all knew it, but now...
See it?
She removed...
Aren't you supposed to be Turning Points USA? Why do you have a scroll of the Talmud? Let's listen.
her wedding picture of her and Charlie Kirk and replaced it with a scroll from the Talmud.
This is supposedly a new, like she just redid the podcast studio. The podcast studio is identical. Nothing has changed. None of the books have moved. They're all the same books. They're all in the same place. You still have the MAGA hat. You've got everything. Every shelf is identical. Except for her wedding picture 1 year later has been replaced by a scroll from the Talmud. Boy, oh boy. They put the truth right in front of our faces all the time. They're not hiding, everybody. They're not hiding. They're just not saying it out loud. That's all. They're just not saying it out loud. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy. What's going on with Uber? Did you know you might have an opportunity to Uber sunlight? Have you heard of this? Wild.
Check this out. This company lets you order sunlight on demand. It's like Uber Eats for the sun. You just press a button and this company beams sunlight down to you. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is how it all works. This company's called Reflect Orbital, and they launch satellites into space that have reflective mirrors. They figured out that in the right constellation and just the right angle, they can reflect sunlight anywhere on Earth. Pretty nuts. Now, they originally created this as a way to charge solar farms at night because the sun is basically a giant nuclear reactor that never turns off. But if you look at their site, they're actually starting to take orders from customers as well. You can pick any spot on the globe and buy a 3-mile circle of light in 4-minute chunks. Imagine lighting up all of Lower Manhattan in a single tap. It's pretty wild. But I can't help but think there's an even better way to use this. In theory, this is the perfect tool for natural disasters. You could help shine lights when the power's down, charge solar cells, and even spotlight people who need to be rescued, all from the sky.
Company's name is Reflect. Let's go check it out real quick. You want to check it out? Let's do that. Holy shit, everybody. Check this out. Check this out. Sunlight after dark, dude. Reflect. Delivers a spot of sunlight on demand with constellation of in-space mirrors. Precise area, 5 kilometers. Configurable, adjust the intensity and location. You can have it on demand. What? Energy, agriculture. Wow. Come on, dude. All right. So what's the products? Look at this. Light or energy. Light without limits. Light's evolving, smarter, sustainable. Click to explore. What's possible? Holy shit, dude. What? On demand, dimmable, no ground infrastructure required, sustainable, precise, uniform delivery. I've never seen anything like this. Let's check out energy. Energy beyond the horizon. Solar energy is no longer limited by daylight. Reflect orbital expands solar potential with reflected sunlight, making clean power dispatchable. None of that worked. As soon as I finished filling it out, it told me I was not eligible, or something went wrong, which makes a lot of sense to me, because why would I be able to buy a 3-mile radius for 4 minutes of sunlight? You can't do it. It's not for the normal person right now, but really neat to go and check out. So I don't know, look more into it, but yeah, sunlight on delivery. Now, this is done in a very classy way.
Climate scientists are at it again, claiming the Gulf Stream could be nearing collapse and predicting a future ice age. Now, this sounds familiar. I remember in the 80s, they said there was a hole in the ozone, right? So they decided to raise the taxes to help fix that issue. And then in the 2000s, the seas were rising. Remember that? And the polar bears were like, let's save those fucking polar bears. And they're like, how do we fix this? And they're like, raise the fucking taxes. And then now, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. So, hey, government's got it all squared away, so we're totally fine.
It's not false information, everybody. This is just what keeps happening. It's an endless cycle that we're in, and I'm really, really hoping that by now some of the bigger voices out there have made somewhat of an impact, and by now we have people being arrested and prosecuted for their crimes. I'm hoping that maybe something will happen and, we can get back some of those lost, stolen funds. Let's be real. Get back some of those stolen funds. And I'm really hoping that some of the people that are in positions that they should not be in are not in those positions by the time this comes out. I don't believe that truly to be how it's going to go down, but I do believe that something will happen. And hopefully, by the time this comes out, there was nothing with Iran, because I do believe the higher-ups in the military, when they say it's a bad idea, we should probably listen, right? Yeah. Man, what a crazy time. What a crazy time. But if you're holding it together like I am, even if we fall apart from time to time, hang in there, right? Stay off your drugs. Don't be falling back into your old habits. That's all I'm saying. Don't let any of this derail you from where you are today. Because I will tell you, I want to derail. I wish I could derail, but I know that it's not going to do anything for me, man. It's just going to make it worse, It's just going to make it worse. So let's not make it worse for ourselves, because they're already making it pretty bad enough, right? But yeah. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. With that all being said, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again, always, for your subscribing, your comments, everything you do. If you're new, remember to subscribe. Set the alarms if you want to know when all the new episodes upload. If you want an opportunity to be a guest or tell your story on the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. And of course, don't forget about the link tree. It's in the description below the video, along with all links discussed in this podcast. I always encourage you to do your own research and search for the truth. And of course, as always, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you next week.